How you doing, everybody? Damp Sam back here again. Friday, PCA's newsletters out, so we're just going to discuss what's in the news this week, or in the news in the damp world. So today I'm talking about it's National Apprenticeship Week, and with a massive shortage in the preservation industry, as you all know. And there's going to be a national shortage of basically trades up and down the country in the next 5 years, which is taking us up to 2025. Young'uns are just not going into apprenticeships. Now, damp work is a specialist industry. Daughter's here. You're going to be an apprentice? No. So we're going to try and get Izzy into doing plastering and damp work, can't we, love?
No.
Alright, go away quicker. So we've got apprentices, and there's going to be a massive shortage. And what happens when there's a shortage? What happens when there's a shortage, Izzy? Prices go up. Yeah, prices go up. People get paid more because, well, the people that's in the industry get paid more because there's a lot of work and there's not enough people to do it. So them that can do the work charge more because they're in demand. I've been through quite a few different scenarios and spells where plastering has become very expensive for people, and I think I've been through three. One in, I think there's been two in 20 whatever's, I don't know what you call it, 20 noughties or 2010s, and that was due to a shortage of apprentices, and they asked people to go and be plasterers, but didn't really affect me because we do damp work and that's specialist, and there's a bigger price set for that. But it did when we were in 90s, when there was a shortage and the price went up. And when that price went up, me and Sid were earning a lot of money for plasterers. Probably around about, I think, well, I forget what I was charging, something like 300 a day. That was back then. Interestingly enough, I saw a program the other day, and it were a plasterer telling everybody, it were on YouTube, and it were a plasterer telling everybody how much he charged a day, because people had been asking him on his question and answer show how much he charged a day, and he said he likes to charge 250 a day. That's what he got, and he lived down in Hastings, I think it was. Just not a patch on what I was charging. We've been getting £1,000 a week since late 90s, since around about 98, 99. Ever since, and it's just gone up and up and up. £1,000 a week from back then. So I don't know whether prices have gone backwards or whether they're just not charging what they're worth. So so most people, most trades now, they'll get £1,000 a week minimum, I think. That's what I'd say. Anyway, damp proofing's a lot more expensive than that, and this is where we come to wanting people to get into preservation industry. It's National Apprentices Week. PCA do an apprenticeship, and they're wanting people to go, and it's run side by side with CITB, which have not enamoured themselves in any glory in the last few years, but PCA are still working with them, and I don't know whether they've ironed out a lot of problems that they've had, but I've not heard out recently, so fingers crossed that they have. they did take away funding that were in place from original set of apprentices, which were kind of 100%. Now employers have to pay some more, but I think there's different types of funding that's gone in now, so apparently it's going to be worth it. I'll be sending my apprentice there, if he's still with me, when he's done his plastering. I'll be sending my apprentice there, and he'll be going through the PCA's apprentice scheme in all its glory, and he'll be doing all 2 years, and that's only because I can afford it now. Back when I've had apprentices before, I just couldn't afford it because we're a small company. They've got to travel to Peterborough. They've got to stop overnight, I think, on some weeks. So you've got to pay for bed and board, travel, and course as well, and then time that they've got off that you've got to stand. So it's kind of double. If they stay here after that and they stay here for 10 years, then you'll get that back tenfold because it's such a good course, and they'll learn loads of different skills. But that's a gamble that you've got to take, because they can just leave whenever they want. And I think a small company, that's kind of that's thinking that they've got to go through. If I pay that money, are they still going to be here? Your bigger companies, your Timberwisers, your back then Peter Coxes, Rentokils, they can afford to to do that with their apprentices, because they've probably got quite a few, and they probably earn more money. So but I'm definitely going to send him when he's done. So I'm always advertising, wanting people to come into our industry. Ideal people to come into our industry is plasterers, because when you've done your damp work, when you've hacked everything off, a lot of time your plasterer comes in and he either puts a wet finish on, a wet backing and a finish on, boardwork on, and that's your that's bit that you want to be good. Well, you want your damp proofing bit to be good, so you want that prep work to be done correctly. So it's ideal for a plasterer, because if they can already plaster, they can learn how to drill and inject, knock off, put skirtings on, do timber treatments. All that's like an extra, and that's just another string to the bow. So ideally, plasterers can just moonwalk into PCA work, into remedial work, preservation work. It's just effortless. It's a bit of learning, but it's effortless. So all them that's earning whatever they're earning, I don't know, they're earning like $250 a day self-employed, but if they went to work for a company, if they were on books, they might be getting £500 a week. With bonuses, they might get up to £800 a week. But I don't know whether they'll be able to go self-employed working for these companies, but eventually, in years to come, they could have their own company. Once they've learnt all techniques and stuff, they could set their own company up and become PCA members, and then start earning a lot more money. They can graduate from that into being a surveyor, and they could even be surveyors for bigger companies, take more courses, onto bigger courses, and then from that, like I said, they can either get top jobs at these bigger companies, go into there and help them pass on their knowledge to another generation, learning others. There's such a variety of paths that you can go on once you cross over from being a plasterer and then starting to learn to be a technician, a qualified technician, and then a surveyor, company director, basement work, waterproofing, flood and restoration. If you wanted to go into Japanese knotweed, eradicating that, invasive species and things like that, all courses are there, and they're all specialist. What does specialist mean? It means there's not a lot of people doing it. You've got to study a specialist subject, and then that means, because there's not a lot, like we were saying, supply and demand, that the prices are higher. So what's the takeaway from this? Let me get me let me get me thing up. So this is what we're going to look at. So it's National Apprentice Week. For those of you that are PCA members and regular readers and news blog, you will know that PCA are big supporters of apprenticeship programs, and as part of the reason why we continue to invest in apprentices ourselves, and why we have specialist apprentice programs for contractors. A bit of blog about appreciating that may not necessarily see what apprentices can offer. I mean, I've seen with the ductwork down at workshop down at their offices in Huntingdon, and it's a brilliant setup. They do alt membrane stuff and that, which shows them for below ground. They do waterproofing, timber treatments. They've got all things set up for bricklaying, pointing, drilling, injecting. They've got everything, and it's because they're only small classes. It's really intense. Are apprentices worth the time and investment? So what are the measurable benefits of an apprentice, and how does it translate into delivering real value for you and your business and the employee? Well, apart from the obvious and well publicised benefits such as filling the skills gap, which again, massive shortage, increasing productivity and improving staff retention, hiring an apprentice is a productive and effective way to grow talent and to develop and motivate your workforce. In a study by the National Apprentice Service, 86% of employers said apprentices help them develop skills relevant to their organisation. 78% of employers said apprentices help them improve productivity, and 74% of employers said apprentices help them improve the quality of their product or services. From our personal experience over the last 8 years of both running the apprenticeship programme and continued investment in apprentices ourselves, we have seen talent grow and skills come to fruition, leading to many apprentices becoming highly valuable members of staff. I don't doubt that. I don't know how many people were polled in this survey, but I've had apprentices come through and they've started off as a plastering apprentices, and I'm trying to think. There's some massive success stories. So Ash went on to form his own company, Cure Damp, now PCA members, and he's gone on. And I'd like to say that he got some of his knowledge from me, but more than his knowledge that he got from me, because I were only just starting on this journey as well. What he got from me were my work ethic, my motivation, and he could see how passionate I was about my job, and he became just like that. And he wanted to be best at what he did, cleanest, and he wanted customers to sort of have good words to say about him and everything. And his company, when you see reviews, that's what they get. So he's gone down the right path. Another lad is Lee at Precision Builders now. They've grown the company. They started off as Precision. I want to say damp proofing. They started off as a damp proofing company. Now they've expanded, and now they do building and maintenance and everything, as well as remedial side. Grown a massive company from starting out as a plasterer. So he started out as a plasterer, going to college. Worked at remedial side with me when we first started. So we've done a lot of stuff wrong and done a lot of stuff right. So we had to weed that out. But overall, what they wanted to do is they wanted their jobs to be spot on, and they've done the learning. to make sure that everything they do is to letter and by the book. And I like to think that they've got a bit of that from working with me, and not just my temper, so which has subsided, by the way, now. Not half as angry as what I was when Lee were working with me or Ash. So in my old age, I've mellowed, but because it, as well as being a rewarding job, it is a very stressful job, as many plasterers will vouch for. And there is something that's in plaster when you mix it that sends you mad. So all plasters are absolutely crackers. But if they come over into preservation side, part of that stress from earning next to naught each week, going into remedial side, investing in themselves, learning new techniques and new skills, they can earn 3 times more than what they're earning plastering as a minimum. But they've got to go and do courses and invest in themselves, or join companies and work their way up by showing willing and by showing that they can learn quickly and not just being there with their hands in their pockets twiddling their thumbs. So when they get these opportunities and jobs, show willing. I'm saying plasterers are good for going into preservation side, only because it's a big part of remedial work once it's been prepped. So if you're putting a wet finish on, sand cement renders, your lightweight backings, anti-salt backings, plasterboards, express systems, then and then obviously it finishes on top. So that's a big part of plastering. But then saying that, for timber treatments, putting skirtings on, taking joists out, splicing joists, joiners, ideal. Joiners work with plans. A lot of joiners would make a good transition over into preservation work, especially big jobs. And all they've got to do, you can arrange somebody to knock off, somebody to do drilling and injecting, a trainee technician could be doing that sort of stuff, and then they could go in and do timber treatments and things like that, any splicing, and then they can organise plasterer to come in and re-plaster it. They put skirtings back on, electrician to do ventilation. There's ventilation side as well. So all these trades, like electricians could come in. It's about organising other trades to do that work, but having that knowledge to know which systems are best worked on different scenarios, which is different types of damp, or wet rot, dry rot, things like that. So this is all that you've got to bear in mind. So what we're saying is, come over and join us, come into PCA family, start doing some learning, and start getting some more skills over on our side. This is what we're wanting. Get more people into our specialist industry and get these people some skills. Conversions, basement conversions, if that's what you're wanting to go into, you can go from a 4 before meter standard terraced house basement, or you can do these massive civil engineering where you dig out a basement and you support it. So there's 2 different types, but they all have the same principles of waterproofing. So you could, if you're a builder, you could get into doing basements and digging them out and doing them right, fitting sumps and pumps and things like that, which is a big one for plumbing, drainage systems. So all these trades could be going into our industry and either setting up companies or working with existing companies as contractors and start earning some better money and helping people with their issues. And that's all we do. So what our why is we want to help people sort out their damp issues, whether it's rots to do with dampness, damp patches, keeping basements dry, flooding, that's another leg. So floods, you get areas where towns get flooded, lots of properties get flooded. You've got to go in and reinstate all plasterwork. But that water that's been in building is normally contaminated. So all plaster has to come off, and then you've got all different services. So you might have to read up electrics, read up plumbing, read up joinery, decoration, get it ventilated, make sure it's dried. So you've got dryers going in and things like that. Go onto PCA website if you're interested and have a look at what courses they've got. Have a look at how you want to get into this industry. Contact these bigger companies. Ask them if there's any positions there. Any young lads who are leaving school and you're wondering what to do, contact some of these big companies. Go onto PCA website, do a postcode search, companies in your area, contact them, ask them if they're taking apprentices on, because there's such a shortage that they'll most likely say, yeah, can you come for an interview? Let's have a look at you. These companies, we're all crying out for extra workers. There's 27, it's gone up, I'm going to say 25. It's 27 million properties in England. This is just houses. So this is not including buildings. 27 million properties, and they're building more all the time. These properties have got to be maintained. Your older properties are sometimes worse than newer ones. There's some that's not have any work done on them. They've all got to be maintained. And these houses that are getting built at minute, they're going to have different issues with damp, the timber framed houses, things like that. All these houses that they're sealing in, they're all going to have new issues and new challenges that we've got to sort out. And we need more people to help us sort these problems out. So there's a job for you. You. Look at my nails. My God. I can't believe I did that. That's a worker's hands. So anybody that's out there, PCA website, them young'uns, or even people who are working in the industry that's got a trade, and you fancy coming over onto the dark side, or the damp side, come over and join us. We want you. We want you. Get on PCA website. Have a look. Send an email off. Get an email address. If you don't want to talk on phone, send them a text. Contact them anyway and just ask if there's any available opportunities for school leavers, existing trades, people that just want to get into our industry and learn and get a slice of that money that's out there. There's an abundance of money out there. People are saying there's a shortage. There's an abundance of money. Money's just floating around that gets passed from one person to another. So I'll get paid off a job, then I'll buy something. So that money's getting passed around. So if you want to slice that pie, get into our industry. Don't be going working for a company driving or working in a warehouse and things like that. Come and learn a skill. Because then you can go and, once you've learnt all this stuff about damp proofing, plastering and joinery, waterproofing, drains, pumps, once you've learnt all that, then what you can do is you can start renovating your own property. Buy an house, learn how to renovate it, either sell it on, rent it out, start growing your knowledge and get into what we're doing now. There's a digital world, there's money to be made there, but if everybody starts going over into the digital world, that's going to leave an even bigger shortage in our world, physical world. What's going to rip stuff out and like replaster stuff and all that. So there's some money to be earned. Come on, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? So there's that bit of Friday. Let's have a look a bit further down. What they're talking about funding. From a financial point of view, there's rarely been a better time to consider investing in apprenticeships. Let's face it, most business decisions are driven by a return on investment, an ROI, return on investment. When you start to factor in incentives and funding such as CITB's Skills and Training Fund, which can allow up to 25k for a large business and up to 10k for a small and medium business, plus their new Travel to Train funding incentive, in terms of a return of investment, the numbers start to make sense. They do. Apprenticeships are the future to help our industry, and they are. We need apprentices to help us out. I mean, I'm 55 at the end of this month. I know I don't look it. I know I don't look it at all. No. And what have I got left? Another what? I'm 55. I have another 50 odd years left, and that's me done. 50 odd years left in this industry, and that's me done. I'll be like that. Last trowel, heart attack, down. That's me. Not even collecting my money. Be like that, just skimming off. I can just see it now. And hopefully there'll be nobody at my funeral, because I'll have lived that long. All my mates will have died before me. What we got here? At the PCA, we continue to invest and value our special apprentices programme, and we are working hard behind the scenes to maintain funding for all. As we enter into our 7th year of apprentices, because I've only been doing this course for 7 years, we have seen over 70 apprentices undertake this dedicated training and set them onto level 2 NVQ qualifications within the industry. In addition, we are continuing to invest in apprentices ourselves with our 3rd and latest apprentice. They've only been doing, it's a 7th year, doing an actual apprentice course that lasts like over a year. I think it lasts a couple of years actually, or is it a year? And it's quite intensive. But they've been doing 2-day course, technician's course for years and years and years, and they still do it. So you don't have to go on a full course. You can still go to PCA and do a 2-day or a 3-day course as a starter, as you can with Safeguard, Sovereign, Wickham, John Newton, what's others? John Newton, Delta. These will all do their own courses. Have I missed anybody? Heidi. I don't want to have missed anybody. Sovereign. If I've missed anybody, apologies, but there's loads out there. Just Google them, and you can pay to go on these courses and learn, and then watch videos by handsome, good-looking, damp and timber surveyors. I'm sure there's some out there somewhere. Right, so don't just take our word for it, see for yourself. For those of you who may not be convinced, not yet convinced, why not click on the videos and hear the views of apprentices from both apprenticeship trainer Neil Marsden. Neil Marsden, what a legend. So if you go onto YouTube and search for Neil Marsden, his videos will come up. Neil is a surveyor, and over the last couple of years, Neil's been he's been filming himself on site surveying. I don't know where he got that idea from. I don't know who would do that in PCA. Any videos that out like that promoting PCA. I watch Neil's videos and I'm still learning stuff. Neil's more experienced than me, more knowledgeable than me. I'm just an average surveyor. Neil is like second level, top level, Professor Standard. Brian Hindle of Brick Tie and Dave Cook. and I've probably missed a few, and they'll probably say, why did you mention me? But he's up here, and watch his videos. He's got loads of tips, tricks, and knowledge. Hello, daughter. Loads of tricks, and throwing me train of thought now. Knowledge. Really good. Any young surveyors? Can you go away, please? Any young surveyors that needs a bit of knowledge, watch Neil's videos and see how he does it. He's a master. He's a master videos, and Neil teaches the apprentices. So again, Neil's getting all his knowledge and he's putting it on video for free for people to see how to do things. Like I said, I've learnt a lot. And if you want to be more technical, there's some videos by Graham Coleman, Graham was my teacher when I were doing my surveying exams at PCA, and he's a brilliant teacher, and his stuff's more technical. So he's just done a video, Rising Damp, fact or fiction or fake or something, where he explains, from proven methods why rising damp is a thing and not a thing, like some people say. And there's still some non-believers, and there's some people that think that we're all one big conspiracy, that we're all phoning each other up and saying, make sure we don't tell anybody that rising damp's not a thing. But it's rubbish. It's rubbish. So have a look at his videos and you'll see it anyway. What we got here? So National Apprenticeship Week. We want more people. Oh, this article what I've just read out, it's by somebody called Jade Stoker, and she works for PCA, and it's a good article, that. So if you want to sign up to PCA newsletter, like I say, go on website, sign up to their newsletter, and you'll get what I get every Friday. So rather than me going through it, you can have a look for yourself. So I hope you've enjoyed this appeal for more people to get into our industry. I'll just give you a couple of examples before we go. I've been doing this for must be 5 or 6 years, doing videos and asking people to get into preservation industry. And there's been quite a few people who's took my advice and they've gone doing surveying exams, and they are now surveyors. They're out there surveying. They're apologies if I forget these names, but they're a guy from Isle of Wight. It might be Isle of Man. Isle of Man, I think it was. And he was in fire service, and he'd just retired, and he was looking for something to do. So I think he'd done some building work before, but he went and took his exams. So he did his remedial exams and he did his waterproofing exams. He's now a surveyor, and I get emails all the time of people who they'll say, "Seen your videos and that, and decided to inquire at PCA. I'm on course now. I'm taking my exams at end of year. I've passed my exams. I'm now a surveyor." And there's still not many surveyors. So there's still a shortage of surveyors, as well as workers and stuff like that. So come into industry, start at bottom, work your way up. That's all I can say. Get your experience, work your way up, get some money. Get some money. You know what I mean? Get paid for it. Get paid good money for doing quality work. There you go. So I'll have an amen for that, for giving you some knowledge and probably showing you the right path. Have a think about it over the weekend. A good think. If you're wondering what to do, if you're bored with your job, come on to the damp side. So please sign up and subscribe. Give us a like. One of them. I think if we get loads of them, we video goes a bit further. And I'll see you at next video. Damp Sam signing off.